Hi, welcome to the 6th episode of the Erotic School series. Today we're going to look at a more delicate topic, meaning that there's the fine lines here are about psychological issues more than skills. Okay, I want to remind you, in the Erotic School series, what we're doing is I post in the community tab a situation around intimacy and then some options for everybody in the community to vote. Then we bring it in a video and we discuss them. So let's see what situation we have at hand. Let's look at it on screen. A woman in a relationship is looking for ways to encourage her beloved man to do more of what she enjoys in bed. She has told him what kind of touch she likes and even shown him directly on her body, but he still does something else. She wonders how hard it can be to offer such a simple touch. What would you suggest to the woman in this situation? And I put a disclaimer here on screen that the situation is based on 2 of my very old coaching sessions that I had in my beginning years. These were women who were requesting for some things, and their beloved men, one never did what she wanted. The other one forgot soon after she asked him. So they always did something else or reverted to doing something else in the end. And none of the stuff that they were doing were what they wanted. Let's look at the options that I put here for this situation. Number 1, clarify the issue. Does he forget or does he not like it? One person voted for this. Tell him good sex includes him listening to what she enjoys too. One person voted for this. Reassure him it's a shared erotic experience, not criticism. 2 people voted for this. And ask what he enjoys and what makes him insecure sexually. 1 person voted for this. So, I want to point out that none of these are about right or wrong. They are about what you intuitively think in your relationship might be the issue, or something that maybe you don't think about it, but it's a good idea to check it. And before I get into the solutions, I want to point out that these should be handled with care. Okay, all of these are actually psychological sensitivities and potentially can touch upon insecurities. Okay, if you were to reverse the situation, so you were the one not listening to what your beloved would ask, and they would start thinking of the solutions, trust me, you might also feel, in that case, how sensitive it could be and how important it would be to handle everything with care. Man or woman here, it doesn't matter. Okay? It just so happens that the 2 cases that I based this topic on were men on the receiving end of, the situation. So now let's look at the first one. Clarify the issue. Does he forget or does he not like it? So in this case, it could be something that is so small for the other person that he might just forget, okay? It might be something of so little consequence for them that they overlook it. And I think that's a delicate situation. Okay, let's say that it's not such a big deal what the other person's asking, but it's such a little deal or small deal that you or the other person disconsider it, or what's the word? Just disregards it altogether. And that's nasty. That means that ultimately you don't care about the other person's needs. I would, if anybody was in this situation, I would totally encourage them to rethink the situation, because otherwise in the long term this could end up being something that they quarrel about. And man, intimacy should be beautiful, and it should be the place where you recharge yourselves, okay? Honestly. Now the second part of this that says, does he not like it? This one's a more delicate way to ask if maybe there's a trigger. Okay, so the request itself might trigger an old wound, something that hasn't healed yet, something, okay? It doesn't really point to that, or it doesn't specifically say it, but it could cover it in that way. If the other person hears the question, okay, I don't like it, and yeah, there's more to it than that, they could diplomatically and elegantly say, yeah, I don't like it. But if there's something really nasty inside, they should, in my opinion, if they're an adult, take at least one coaching session or a therapy session or whatever, just to discuss this whole thing. Because if it's not addressed, it might come back in the relationship in a different form. Okay, so whenever you have the sign that, oops, there's something here that I don't like, the other person's doesn't know that I don't like it or that it triggers me that badly, but it's something that they need, maybe I need to go and do something about this psychologically without unloading the heavy stuff in the relationship itself. Okay, my 2 cents here. Now let's look at the second option. Tell him good sex includes him listening to what she enjoys too. Well, yeah, ideally both people in bed or wherever are listened and are understood and are, you know, their requests are honored, and it should be like, that's the point, right? That's why we're having sex with somebody else, because we want to have our needs met, sexual needs, physiological needs, like bodily needs, for hugs, for touches, for kisses, for everything, orgasm and all, fantasies, whatever it is, okay? We want to have them met in the relationship. So the only thing here to say, and I think this is worth mentioning, that it's not just with men, it can also be with women. Some people, they treat the other person as just a body, but they don't care about the other person's needs, okay? And they are very selfish in intimacy. They couldn't really care less. They say that it's just a one-night stand, so it doesn't really matter. However, I say, in that case, if you really disregard the other person so much, why are you sleeping with them? Really, you could get yourself a toy, you could get yourself a doll, you could get yourself a robot, whatever they have these days, or virtual reality sex. Like, you can go about your ways if you don't care about the other person without engaging with another person, honestly. So unless, you know, you're so caught with all the excitement and the arousal and everything that you just can't process well, okay, that can happen. And maybe there's a way to go about it, unless you're in a one-night stand. Because if you're in a one-night stand, usually people don't talk much before, don't talk much after, because they're not going to see each other afterwards, and that's it. So yeah, if this is in a long-term relationship, like the situation at hand here, talk about it outside of the lovemaking moments, because maybe there's too much arousal and the other person just doesn't, you know, they don't hear well in those moments, or maybe they drank. There's a lot of risks associated with drinking and then having sex, okay? I've spoken about this in another video. It can go badly, okay? If you're inebriated and you're starting to do whatever you're thinking that is okay, but the other person isn't, you can end up in really nasty situations. So, you know, my take is, if you want to drink, drink. If you want to take something, take it. If it's safe for you, legal, whatever. But if you want to have sex with somebody, just do it without the other stuff, so that you can be fully present and pay attention to the other person's needs also. Because, man, you would hate it if you were receiving that kind of indifference or inability to process your requests, okay? Trust me, you would hate it too. Now let's go to option number 3. Reassure him it's a shared erotic experience, not criticism. Yep. Usually, sometimes, not usually, when people request something, and depending on how they say it, that's why I said in the beginning, please make sure that all of these things, you handle them with care. So you speak them out with sensitivity. Sometimes requests can land as criticism, depending on the tone, on the context. Okay, sometimes they can land as criticism. So reassuring the other person that you're not and you're actually not intending criticism, so reassuring them of that also is a good way to navigate the situation. Okay? Like I said, and I'm going to say this in every single video, intimacy, sexual intimacy, erotic intimacy is supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to charge us and just, bring us beauty. Otherwise, why do it? Beauty, satisfaction, intensity will basically get our needs met and also get the other person's needs met. Okay? So whenever you're having these kinds of fine-tuning discussions, always make sure that you don't intend them as criticism, and that also you reassure the other person it's not criticism. That's, in my opinion, a really skilled, beloved person and lover also. Okay? Last option, ask what he enjoys and what makes him insecure sexually. So, this one, I would definitely handle it or say it with care. Sure, as a rule of thumb, you want to know, all people in the relationship would want to know what the other one likes. Okay? Absolutely. And this, in my opinion, these discussions should happen long before you get in bed. I mean, I know some people are super uncomfortable with these because we're not taught to have these discussions, but the other possibility that you're doing something but the other person doesn't like it because, I don't know, that's how they're wired. They don't like that. And there wouldn't be a way for you to know in advance, so you just do it and kind of create this nasty moment. I think really opening up the discussion beforehand, like if you know that you're drawn to each other and you're gonna eventually get to having sex, making love, whatever else you want to call it, having a merger experience for the spiritual ones. So whatever you want to call it, I think discussing about what the other person likes, what they need, in a way that they don't become insecure, or you, is the best way to go about it. And if you don't know how to do it, always think that you can get coaching sessions or therapy sessions, counseling sessions. So these are things that you can talk about with other professionals for this discussion or for this field. And you can get better prepared for such a discussion. There's no shame in it. Some people have programs about this, so, up to every single one of us to find solutions here. The other part of the answer, what makes him insecure, again, this is something that you want to ask the two of you in a relationship would want to know way in advance, like way before you get into bed. What pushes your nasty buttons? I think it's intimate hygiene to know way in advance what is a go and what is no go for the other person. If you care about them, I think this would be natural. But some people, because they just think that it should come, telepathically. I don't know how many people are telepathic. Okay? But things should be cleared up in delicate ways, in enticing ways. So there are ways for you to open up this discussion without blowing up the whole thing. Or if both of you are adults and both of you are secure in your sexuality. Okay, if you have insecurities, sure, these kinds of discussions can sadly blow up the whole thing, even without intention. And I think that's a big loss. But, those are opportunities for people to realize that maybe they should work on their triggers if they want to be better partners. Okay, and if they want to communicate what they enjoy and what they don't enjoy without blowing things up, because nobody wants to blow things up. People want to enjoy themselves in intimacy. And I'm going to take this opportunity to remind you that I have my Patreon community where I have a lot of programs uploaded recently. Intimate Touch, I have 3 classes on that. And now I'm uploading a class which is about sexual growth. And this is about how to grow in intimacy, how to handle various scenarios that you can come across, and some small exercises that you can do that can help you control better your erotic charge or arousal. Okay, so check out my Patreon. You can either purchase these classes individually and you make one purchase and then you keep them forever, or you can take the monthly subscription, study them in your own pace, and then when you're ready, you can unsubscribe. Up to you. I hope that you have a lovely romantic month, and drop me your comments to let me know what you think about the answers here. Love to read your comments, and see you in the next episode.